Okay, green box
So
is up. Go ahead, Fuzzy.
anyway, I've gotta wonder, how much do you think it's convergent evolution, or do you think Big Mom was an explicit inspiration for Malice?
I think it's
convergent evolution.
Yes, I agree.
And on the subject of moms,
Hey.
God damn it.
look, I gave you my best shot. Now it's up to you. Jesus, take the wheel.
So yes, welcome back everybody to the Storytime Network. It is the Paradox Hour podcast, and today we are discussing WandaVision. It's been a long time coming.
Oh my.
Feel like we've been scheduling it for quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for about better part of a year now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like getting this specific cast together is a bit trickier than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean we're
God, I hate life
we're
and the
on-
fact that it happens.
we are only like almost exactly 2 years off WandaVision's premiere date, so
That is pretty wild, honestly.
because it dropped January 15th, 2021.
Oh my god. Within a week of
Yeah.
that. Jeez.
So we're not doing too badly. At least we're on a somewhat fitting date. Which is
Yeah.
always best if we can manage to do that. It's what we're doing with Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
But
I like. Okay, can I say I have a confession to make?
oh boy.
For some reason, every time I hear Dr. Stone's, it doesn't happen when I'm reading, but every time I hear the name Dr. Stone out loud, for some reason, there's just a little voice in my head that says, Stone Doctor Pilots.
Stone
Why?
Temple Pilot.
Is that
Yes.
a reference to something?
It's a band, but I'm just like, I
Stone
don't
Temple
listen to
Pilots,
their music.
grunge band.
Yeah. I don't listen to their music. I've never heard a Stone Temple Pilots song. I just know that the band exists and has that name, but for some reason my brain has just decided Dr. Stone equals Stone Doctor Pilots.
Cool.
Huh.
Yeah, look forward to the Dr. Stone retrospective come the start of March. Things will be said.
Allegedly.
But that's
so,
not
yeah,
what... Yeah, we're not discussing that today. We're discussing WandaVision.
I like WandaVision.
WandaVision is good.
Until its
Has some
last
issues.
episode or two.
I was gonna say it has some issues in the last episode, but it's otherwise pretty good. It
I miss
remains,
Paul
in my
Bettany.
opinion. Yeah.
Paul Bettany
my
is
opinion,
kind of
this is-
amazing.
In my opinion. Fuzzy, are you just doing that to interrupt me?
No, I stopped myself because you were speaking that time,
Thank you.
but the grunt came out.
Anyways,
what she
in my
said.
opinion, this is.
That one was... I didn't want to interrupt you, but I also couldn't let that chance go.
Hey, speak now, please.
Yes.
This is still probably one of the best, if not the best, of the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus.
I would say Loki. I like Loki more.
I'd say this is an easy top 3 along with Loki and Moon Knight.
Those are the only 3 good ones.
I don't know about the only 3 good ones, but they're the best. Pretty easily.
Phase 4. What other
Again?
TV shows have there been that I've actually watched?
I'm just trying to think. Miss Marvel was interesting. I did actually enjoy that.
I liked Miss Marvel a lot too. It's just I don't put it on the same level as WandaVision like I do with Loki and Moon Knight.
And for all of Falcon and the Winter Soldier's faults, it is something I have to give it at least some props.
No, I agree.
My biggest gripe with Falcon and the Winter Soldier is they're never gonna have the balls to canonize the ship.
No, but
No, of
You
course
know.
not.
At least we still have the whatchamacallit, the chemistry between those two. The dynamic.
Oh, speaking of which, y'all want to know another a weird fuzzy brain thing?
Hesitantly, yes.
Since the release of the Loki TV show, every time I see, hear, or even think the word Loki, my brain is like, Licko.
But why?
My brother in
Yeah.
Christ, I'm autistic. I don't know why.
Fair.
But also, why?
I'm just like, what are you, some sort of Licko?
Mm,
You
there
know
we
what
go.
I'm saying? Is that
Yeah.
that kind of energy?
Gotcha. But all that to say, I think the Marvel shows. I'm just trying to remember all of them.
So the ones that aired during Phase 4 are WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and She-Hulk.
I only
She-Hulk,
watched those
that's the-
first three.
That's the one I was forgetting. She-Hulk was also good.
Mm.
She-Hulk,
Was it? I've heard.
She-Hulk, I've heard very mixed things.
Yeah, I
I
like.
I enjoyed some episodes more than others from what I've watched,
Like
but
She-Hulk was good, if like partially because of its like the take of the actual character of Jennifer Walters is one that's hard to get right on a good
Mhm.
day. And so the fact that they even bothered,
yeah.
I just like. Where did their CG budget go?
it went into Multiverse of Madness.
Okay, that's fair, but like, you'd think they could afford both.
Nope. You'd think, but
I mean,
You're not.
what has become very apparent in the last sort of year or so is that Marvel does not pay its effects teams at all well and forces them to crunch a fuck ton.
It is a very well-known
You can't really expect good
Good working
benevolent work
conditions, yeah,
practices from Disney.
yeah.
You know why Disney and the animation industry as a whole has shifted mostly to 3D animation? Because 2D animators were primarily unionized back in the 90s.
Yeah, I never liked the shift to 3D animation. I just like
I like some of the 3D like the movies that have come out since, Tangled being my favorite of them.
most of the I feel that very few of the 3D movies benefit from the medium. And as a result, it comes down to preference, I think.
Speaking of medium, speaking of mediums,
Mm.
like WandaVision is such a good show because of its use of the medium.
Yeah, no, WandaVision does a really good job of playing into the television medium.
It's
Out of all the Marvel TV shows, I'd say that WandaVision, What If, and She-Hulk use the serialized format of television the best. Because all the other Marvel TV shows felt like extended movies, basically.
you bring that up. I have a somewhat important question.
Mm-hmm.
A question I would ask you to ponder.
Ponder it I shall.
The question is not in fact what if, sadly.
Uh-huh.
The question is, do you think the references to old sitcoms meant anything to anyone who was watching the show?
What do you mean?
Like, how old?
Like, no one's really going to. Everything up to like the 80s, basically, no one is really going to remember. No one is in the modern era, I think, is going to feel nostalgia for like the I Love Lucy style
Ye-
of
No,
sitcom.
some people do have nostalgia for I
Fuzzy,
Love Lucy. typically.
Me. Hi, hello, my
Okay,
name is
look.
Gen.
Again, I say this with love and respect, but you're old.
Ken is only like 2 or 3 years older than me.
You're also old, Jack.
Jack, I say this with
I'm
love
not even
and
30.
respect, but you old.
Everyone older than us 25-year-olds seem old.
But here's the
God.
thing, right? It's like, I Love Lucy is how to describe this? Like, I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners. Yes, people may not know like the exact things
It's the
about
Seinfeld
those.
effect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but like, how many people know the reference? Honey, I'm home.
Yes,
I mean that's
that
that's
is
the thing. That's the thing.
the defense of that.
Yeah, these older shows have been parodied to death already. So we already have a general idea of what the tropes are.
There's a baseline.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And so like in many ways, like it's not like yeah, you can say like, oh yeah, no one knows these shows, but we all do.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I've not watched the Brady Bunch. But
Which is sacrilege in my brain, but keep going.
I have so many decades of TV to catch up on, Gen. You can't expect me to watch everything.
I'm being silly, but
I know.
um,
But yeah, but I know the general gist of the show and the general gist of the tropes because, again, it's been parodied elsewhere.
and also like you have to remember is like oftentimes a show like what they're doing with WandaVision overall, which is like this travel through the decades of sitcom TV, is it's saying something to more people. It's saying it's not trying to just aim to lowest common denominator, or even just to people who are, you know, going to recognize it or not. It's trying to just say something about it as a whole.
Hmm.
It also really, really reminds you that Kat Dennings is absolutely wasted on Two Broke Girls.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Kat Dennings is a treasure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
loved
She was
her. So
she was wasted.
I was,
She was wasted in on
The Thor
Thor.
movies.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was
You know what?
so
Kat-
happy. I was so happy to see that she came back because I watched WandaVision after the fact, and that was one of the few things I didn't get spoiled on. I knew Jimmy Woo was coming back. I didn't know Darcy was coming back, and that made me happy.
I didn't even remember Jimmy Woo.
Honestly, the use of Jimmy Woo is also pretty good.
No, I
He
loved
was
that
in
Jimmy Woo
he
was
was in
there.
previous things.
Yeah,
he was in
And
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Yeah,
The
He was-
second Ant-Man.
it was like the FBI
I
agent
have
looking after
watched.
Ant-Man.
You know what's funny? That would make sense because the two Ant-Man movies are the only ones I haven't watched, which is going to be bad because Quantumania is probably going to be like the only good Phase 4 Marvel movie.
Hmm.
Well,
Quantumania is the start of Phase 5.
oh, really? I thought that
Yep.
wasn't that originally slated as a Phase 4 joint?
It was originally, but they decided to separate Phase 5. And the end
That's
of Phase 4
honestly for
is
the best.
Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
But I will say, like Jimmy, like going back to your other point though, Fuzzy, like sometimes a show doesn't need to hit the common denominator
Hmm.
to be
Mhm.
good. Like,
Well, okay, go ahead.
I mean, so the best show on Disney Plus, Andor, um, is a show that doesn't speak to its general audience. It's more interested in saying something.
Hmm.
Yes.
And like it's referencing things that aren't common knowledge. Like the first 3 episodes of Andor references the Troubles, the time of trouble, like the Irish Troubles.
Yep.
Okay, I was
It-
gonna make a joke about that actually being the Troubles. I thought you were talking about some Star Wars event that was the Troubles.
No, it's the
Nope.
literal Irish Troubles.
It was the Troubles, yes.
Okay,
like,
interesting.
most people, especially most Americans, are not going to recognize the language, the subtle the thematic undertones that are endemic of you know pieces and works set during the Troubles. And so like this is like Andor, much like WandaVision, is a show that's wielding those things, not because the people will recognize them, but because it's going to be useful. It's more useful for the story they're telling. And that is, I think, why WandaVision works, where so many of the other Marvel TV shows fail, like including like Loki, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel. Like they're more interested in reaching the common denominator, whereas WandaVision is trying to tell a story or trying to do
Mm.
something.
So here's the thing. I respect your points, but also there's something Loki has that WandaVision doesn't have, and
Owen
that's
Wilson.
sexual tension between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston.
Mm.
That's fair. That is
Yeah.
fair.
So, like, sometimes the lowest common denominator can be a good thing, if you know what I'm saying.
and there's a time and a place for it. You
I
gotta
kn-
have your garbage shows. I watched all of the CW.
Oh God.
That's
Oh,
too much
God.
even for me.
So I think
But,
the
like,
I think the
I
other
understand why, and I
I
hate
watched
that I understand why.
I watched Riverdale for a while
Why would you do that to yourself?
because I liked the nightmares.
I
Oh
think
my
the
God.
I think the other thing about these, tributes to classic TV sitcoms is the general concept is always the same.
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
there is an element of carryover there that they're the same concept, just couched in a 50s setting, a 60s setting, a 70s setting, with the references therein,
And
and
like,
Mhm.
mhm.
and these sitcoms are generally essentially so stereotypical that people know the stereotypes of living in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s, and so
I mean, half of what is it like? Half of America wants to go back to that.
exactly,
You know?
yeah.
The dumb half of America.
I mean, yes, but
The half of America I'm talking about when I say Americans.
Yes,
America.
but like also you have to like keep in mind like, I mean, also like to the point like those are tropes that are like the carryover is there because these tropes are so comforting, right? There's a level of comfort that's associated with these shows.
Hmm.
Like um like I Love Lucy is incredibly like reminiscent of an era that feels simpler and more in tune with like these were people. Like they were people who had real problems, but their problems were not insurmountable.
Yeah.
Same with the Honeymooners. Same with any of the shows in like on one like that were parodied, that were tributed on WandaVision. Um, and like that ultimately is the point because that's what Wanda's like. That is the narrative arc of Wanda's character in the show, right? Like she's creating these like realities because she wants the comfort that's associated with them.
Hmm.
Like there's a reason she goes to Modern Family and not The Simpsons,
Hmm.
right? Because The Simpsons wasn't meant to be, this comfort show about American life or American stability. It was a parody of it.
Yeah.
And that's why they
Mhm.
didn't, include it.
The Simpsons was like the opposite of a comfort show for anyone who actually like understood what was going on.
Hmm.
Right. I mean,
I can't help but imagine if they would have done an episode in full Simpsons animation, though.
that would have been
That would have been
now
insane.
like that would have been an interesting bit, right? That would have
But
been
no,
interesting.
I understand thematically it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
Right, because it's not what they're going for
Yeah.
at all. But
The
just
like I do like that the sitcoms are all like filters of like, oh, this is what Wanda is nostalgic about. This is something she
also,
enjoyed in her childhood.
I mean, not even
This is
just
her
that.
comfort place.
How old is Wanda supposed to be in the show? In her 30s,
She's
Hmm.
yeah, early 30s, I think.
right? And I'm a bit younger than that, but like all of the shows that were on, like that were parodied, were shows that I either grew up around or um have a lot of nostalgia for.
Mm-hmm.
Saved by the
Yep.
Bell was one of them. All of the '80s shows,
I think there was a little bit of Malcolm in the Middle towards the end there.
Yeah, there was. That was the one I
Yeah,
was nostalgic for.
but like
Hmm.
this is a very like, and also like how many like you were saying also, Mel, earlier. It was like you know how often does this kind of like celebration of television through time,
Mm.
how often is that you know pulled as like a trope, right?
Yeah.
Um, like one of the like Cohen brothers do this in Hail Caesar, where they like do a throwback to like golden age of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
You have Fairly Odd Parents in the movie Channel Chasers, like going through television, like literally all of the TV,
Yeah.
and it's a love letter to the TV that '80s latchkey kids would like have watched.
Mm.
Man, things have changed so much over the past 30 years.
Yeah.
But that's also why the travel through time is such a good bit, because you know Wanda is filtering all of this through this need for something more, something better,
Mm.
you know. And in all of these shows, there might be moments where it sucks, but they also ultimately get better.
Mm.
Right? There is ultimately a return to status quo.
Mm.
Because none of the shows that were that were parodied also have a sense of time moving forward. And if they do, it's very subtle.
Mm.
Like I Love Lucy is barely noticeable because of the kid, because of Lucy giving birth to his child.
Mm.
Modern Family is probably one of the few ones that has a progression through time for the family itself.
And yet nothing really changes. I've since watched most of Modern Family. Nothing really changes. The
Right.
kids are
And even
still around.
right, but like yes, they grow older, but they
Yeah.
don't change.
Yeah.
Right? And that's
Mhm.
what Wanda doesn't. That's what Wanda wants as well, is like she
She wants
wants comfort and she doesn't want change.
she wants a very static existence where nothing can change to hurt her.
Right. Like ultimately what would have been really interesting is if there was a brief moment where things turn into a comic book.
Mm.
You know, like it's also very telling that Wanda doesn't go to Saturday morning cartoons,
Yeah.
right? Because Saturday morning cartoons are also a medium in which, things don't change.
Mm.
Um, but Wanda doesn't go that way because she didn't have a childhood.
Mm.
There is no like her innocence is gone. There's nothing there for her.
Whereas
There's also an
sitcoms have
element
just enough
of
of an edge.
yeah.
Yes.
There's also an element of what was available to her in Sokovia, because we did get
Mhm.
Yeah.
that
Right.
flashback with her back in what was it in WandaVision or was it in one of the movies?
It was WandaVision, yeah.
Okay, in
WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah, where
Because they have to
you know
explain why
yeah
she's going through the
okay
80s,
yeah
right?
yeah
Um,
I forget which episode it was in. I think it was like episode 5 or something.
but like, you know, also because like Sokovia is a stand-in for former Soviet bloc,
Hmm.
like a country within the former Soviet bloc, and a lot of the time they didn't get, you know, the newest shows until the fall of the wall,
Yeah.
and even then they barely did. So it would make sense that Wanda grew up on older television that would be, you know, um, smuggled or pirated in.
Mm-hmm.
I just like okay, as an aside, it's very very difficult for me to acknowledge the existence of Wanda and Baron Zemo coming from the same place.
Well, Zemo is explicitly an aristocrat.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but it's like just like the tone shift between the two.
Well, that's
You've
also,
got this.
I mean, think about it like, think about it this other way, right? It's like how many people like you talk about like I don't know, Americans now, right? Like like people in, I live in Boston, like upper middle class Boston or middle class Boston have a very different life experience than people who are making it in Boston.
Mm.
And
I
I
mean,
live in the same city.
I live in Southern California. And there's like huge wealth discrepancies all over the place
Hmm.
Right. And it's
in
like
Southern California.
the trauma of living in Sokovia is not one that is one that will deeply affects Wanda and her brother Pietro, but not someone like Baron Zemo because he's rich enough and powerful enough to escape that trauma.
Well, it did affect Pietro, and then apparently he lost his ability to dodge bullets.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It affected Wanda and Pietro, but not Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo only got
Can
affected
I
when
just say?
war came to the country and actually affected them.
Can I just say something though? I'm still mad they killed off Quicksilver to machine gun fire.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, no, but I blame Joss Whedon
That
for that bullshit.
turns out there's a lot we can blame Josh Whedon for.
Yeah.
Joss.
But yeah. But but
Again,
but
look
she.
inside your heart and think to yourself, does he really deserve?
I would go along with it just like I don't want to besmirch the name of anyone named Josh.
Like, yeah. Um. Like Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
Um.
Josh Brolin's a great dude. Don't besmirch him by associating him by proxy with Whedon.
But also, she recast Pietro.
That was a funny gag.
I'm okay. This is where we get into my anger about the show.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, the whole bait and switch was annoying.
Because it is exactly what it so like again comparing it to Andor, this like WandaVision, like the bait and switch at the end is a how do I describe it?
It's a cop out designed to frustrate theorists.
Not even that, it's like a lack of commitment to the bit.
Yeah, that too.
Right, like there's a world in which Andor doesn't commit to the bit. And the last episode of season 1 of Andor doesn't land as well. And, you know, that would be a travesty. And WandaVision makes that mistake.
With regard to Pietro or with regard to other stuff?
I mean, the entire last 2 episodes, aside from Catherine Hahn singing,
Mm.
that was great.
Catherine
I
Hahn
will
is just
say-
fantastic.
horrific waste of Agatha Harkness.
Oh, yes, I'm.
It's
There's
like-
actually going to be a TV show about Agatha Harkness now because Catherine Hahn was so popular.
Yeah, no. Also, Agatha. No, this is something I've not been a fan of. In okay, I'm gonna save this for the end because I let me just preface it. I am the only hardcore comic book nerd in this on this panel right now.
I
But
think I'm the next closest, but even then, I don't think I'm as big as you.
Yeah. So
My
I
greatest
will
exposure
have
to comic books was wiki diving when I was a teenager.
I
Nice.
will have a lot of words to say
Yes.
about the comic book stuff, and I'm saving it all for the end so I can just get it in one burst and not interrupt anyone.
Okay, that's fair. I mean,
how
I-
long do you want, Fuzzy, so we can pick a time to stop?
Yeah, I can get it done in like 5 minutes, 10 max.
All right.
Yes, I think I know what you're gonna say, but I'm interested to hear it. But Catherine Hahn is an excellent actress. She nailed the part. She
Oh,
does it
yeah.
really well. Honestly, she's also kind low key one of the best parts of um uh Glass Onion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was great in that.
She was
Although-
in Glass Onion?
Yep.
Yep,
Who was she in Glass Onion?
Claire
she was the
DeBella.
governor. Yeah, governor
Right,
lady.
right, that lady. That was Catherine Hahn. I completely forgot about that.
Oh wow, she was Olivia Octavius in Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
And
she's
she's
a
all
great actress.
she's all like part of this we're getting at, like we're on a tangent at this point, but like Catherine Hahn was played what's her name in Parks and Rec? Like
Jennifer Barkley.
yep, that's it.
Yes.
And like that's kind of what the reference in Glass Onion is for her character.
Huh.
Wait, so you're saying Glass Onion made the very obvious reference of a character that was the actor was well known for, almost like the point of the movie is that it's very obvious references and things.
Yes. Yes, uh-huh.
It's funny. Look, Ryan Johnson, you can say many things about him, but he's like good at the knives
good.
out.
He's good at the craft.
Yes, he's like
Anyways, tangent over with.
Yes. But
Yeah.
all that to say, like Catherine Hahn's an excellent character. Does really well.
Though
but-
I will say there are probably people who called it episode 1
I mean I did.
just from the nickname.
I did.
Called what episode 1 now?
That Agatha was
That Aggie was Agatha Harkness.
Hmm. To be fair, I don't
I
think she
didn't.
was called Aggie at the beginning. I think I forget what her name was before the reveal. Began with an A.
Agnes.
Agnes, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, even Agnes is probably close enough for a lot of people to be like, yeah, okay,
Oh,
that's
no,
Agatha
a lot
Harkness.
of people were calling it really early on, but still, it's like,
I was one of them.
I was not, and I'm still upset about that. I'm
Yeah,
upset with myself.
I called
Honestly.
it around episode 3 or 4, I think.
But like the show did such a good job of laying just enough, subtle groundwork to, foreshadow the reveal, right? Like
Mm.
a reveal being obvious is not a bad reveal.
No, that's a good
So long
reveal,
as-
actually. Like, if you're able to call the reveal, that's the sign of good foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. And so-
You just gotta tread the line to make sure it's not too obvious.
Or if you are, make the red herring a good one.
Yes.
Like
Or,
lay in,
just refuge and audacity, cross the line twice, that sort of thing. Okay,
So
will say this.
in terms of red herring, apparently they got what was it? They got an actress from Buffy the Vampire Slayer that
Mhm.
played a character who was like a twist villain to try and throw people off.
yeah, the leader of the village, like the town HOA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Emma Caulfield, I believe.
Yeah, people were thinking she's Emma Frost for a bit. Um,
And then there was all the theories about fucking Mephisto.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like when you have Agatha and Scarlet Witch, like really powerful magic users, you're gonna run into, Mephisto.
To be fair, people have
I
been
have
people have
words
been
about really powerful magic users, but I'll save that for mom.
Mm-hmm.
people have been have been screaming about Mephisto for a while. It seems like.
Yes.
It's because Mephisto has a very unique place in people's hearts. The comic book fans have
Also,
had a deep, lingering fear of Mephisto ever since One Last Day.
I thought I was
One
gonna
day,
say,
oh god.
a raging desire to see his face punched in.
Well, that, yes, but like, they're scared of the damage that happens before he gets his face punched in.
I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, Mephisto has always been like a interesting enemy.
I will say that if we do get Mephisto as a villain at some point, it will be interesting to see A, who plays him, and B, how they're going to implement him.
Which is I'm kind of annoyed that they went with Kang. I love Kang, but
Kang is fantastic as a villain, though.
So, okay, this is probably the best possible take on Kang.
no, I agree. I think this Kang is great.
100%.
I think this Kang is.
Jonathan Majors is just like
There's,
phenomenal in every clip I've seen.
I legitimately don't think they could have gone with a better Kang.
So here,
Yeah.
this may infuriate some people, but my view on Loki is that it is okay until He Who Remains shows up.
And that's when it gets good, or that's when it gets wild.
Well, I mean, like He Who Remains is such a good character in my head, and
Not just in your head.
but like He Who Remains plus the Loki variants,
Mm.
right? Like Kid Loki, Alligator, Old Man, like all like
Alligator
that-
Loki.
I just really, really like the idea that the only person Loki can truly love is himself. Slash
Yes.
herself, slash themself.
Yes.
But like
Loki's pronouns are unclear. I apologize.
they them. But like all that to say, like, I love this Kang. I love Kang. I mean, I really just see what they do with him. But I have to like be honest and say like I kind of wish Mephisto was the villain of this arc, because if you're gonna make, the Witch and Strange like your main actors,
Well, that's the thing. I
Like-
was under the impression that Elizabeth Olsen is done, isn't she?
well, I mean,
We
After
don't know.
Mom?
We don't know.
the thing is like
There has
At the-
been no announcement with regard to that.
so like at the time, right, when Loki first came out, right, we didn't know what
What the plan was.
exactly, and also like we didn't know um what was I gonna say? What was the like who the villain was gonna be and all that, because Mom hadn't come out, and He Who Remains hadn't shown up. But like we knew Multiverse of Madness was coming. That had been leaked. You know, Scarlet Witch is a thing. At the end of WandaVision, you have Agatha Harkness. All of this is pointing towards a very mystical version of the MCU. And so like that's why something like Mephisto was such
Of course, you're forgetting the part where we have to protect America.
America.
Right. But like this idea, like we were nearing an era of like we were entering a moment of like incredible like magic based MCU, which is not something that we had seen before, at least prior to like WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness.
Magic was very much on the back foot in the Infinity War saga.
Right.
It's
So, like,
primarily because magic is kind of hard counter to Thanos, so they had to like gimp the magic users somehow.
Yeah.
so like the thing is, like, with like Spider-Man Far From Home, right?
Mhm.
And is it Far From No Homecoming?
No Way Home. No Way Home.
No way. That's it. Whatever. Um,
I appreciate the naming convention does make things it does make it hard to
bit-
keep the movies separate.
Spider-Man
makes
one
it a
more.
bit sucky.
Spider-Man One More Day.
Basically, what they're saying is Phase 5 wants to get their money's worth out of Benny Combs.
Yes, but like at all said, I agree with them. But
No, it's absolutely the correct decision objectively to
yeah, no,
like go all in on Benny Combs.
yeah,
Well,
like-
there's also just like I do think like Loki is what firmly set the stage for. Oh, we're doing multiverse shenaniganry. Okay, then it has to be one of these like 2 or 3 main big bads, and they went with Kang.
right. And again, Kang is great, but you know, it does.
Do you wonder
There's-
if they were basically waiting for the reaction to He Who Remains, and if it had been negative, they would have gone with somebody else?
The thing is, like with Marvel movies, you have to assume like
There's at
Marvel-
least some semblance of a plan for a while in advance.
You
right, because you
say
have to
that, but look
corporate-
at fucking Multiverse of Madness.
corporate synergy, Mel. Corporate synergy.
Yeah, no,
There's
I can't explain or defend Multiverse of Madness. Sorry.
Like, I appreciate that Sam Raimi gave it a good shot, but the fact that he included a character in the movie who like had a massive arc in that same phase and just ignored it, like,
Yeah, I don't get what they did with Wanda there. That was just like, no. I'm sorry, but no.
Okay.
Like
I
no.
actually
If you
totally-
want to have Wanda as the villain, why not just get a different fucking Wanda from a different
No.
universe?
Here's the thing. I felt at the end of WandaVision, even before I saw her fricking around with Clark Gregg's secret diary, that I knew from like basically the moment it started kicking into gear that Wanda's arc was not going to complete in WandaVision. It was very obvious that she had a moment, but that was more a brief. Like the storm was still raging. That was just like this brief moment of calm
Yes.
in the middle of the raging waves.
Yes,
it was
but-
very clear to me that her arc was nowhere near done, and I felt that it was a natural progression for her to go full psycho mode because she's who the Scarlet Witch is as a character. That much they at least got right.
I wish they
I
had
don't think it
foreshadowed
is
that better, though.
I don't think it was, though, because Wanda, as much as, yes, her arc was not over, it seemed like she was trending upwards. And then suddenly she
Yeah.
does this, like, incredibly steep dive back down.
But it's
This
not
is,
unrealistic,
I mean, it's not even,
is it?
it's not even,
It is unrealistic. There is like no lead into it.
No, but like a lot of people.
like, the whole, I mean, I don't want to say the whole point of WandaVision it was Wanda working through her grief and realizing that she can't just force things. And then her motivation in Multiverse of Madness was to force things so that she could have a family.
Yeah.
Like,
Sometimes
you
people.
can, you can talk about the whole thing of
Backslide is
oh,
the
the Darkhold
thing.
was corrupting her, but
No,
like
people backslide. I feel that was one of the most realistic parts of the movie because like she had this big battle and realization, and then she holed herself up in a shack in Eastern Europe for 3 months, with or without the Darkhold. That's the sort of thing that like without therapy, you're not just like one epiphany isn't gonna bring you back from that. Like the Clark Gregg's secret diary was irrelevant to the process.
Well, I would also argue that like Wanda, backsliding is not of the realm of personality, like possibility, because like you know she, you had this moment where she, at the end of WandaVision, she's facing the townspeople. They're pissed. So there's like two ways she could go. One is redemption arc, but she runs away. Like
Yes, I was gonna say she does not take any responsibility for what she has done
she runs. Unlike
by
like
the end of WandaVision.
right, like if she doesn't take Polaris's hand, is that what we're calling her now? It's Spectrum. She's Spectrum.
Spectrum.
She doesn't take Spectrum's hand. If she took Spectrum's hand, then and still went down the way of like Multiverse of Madness, then we'd have then I'd be agreeing with you more. But
Mm.
there is a level of this where it's like they try to foreshadow it even a little bit.
And I think it went fairly it was fairly obvious to me. I don't know. It's just like honestly, the way she
The way she
won
fled.
that final battle in WandaVision wasn't by having this realization. It was by embracing the madness.
Well, it was embracing the magic inside of her, right?
Yeah, that's not really embracing the madness so much as just embracing her power.
Right, but like the thing is like
Her power
what
is madness. Her power is literally chaos.
right, and like the other thing is like, you know, she she was able to, her whole thing is being able to take reality and warp it to her will. She she plays God. Like she very much plays God at the end of WandaVision when she, judged jury executions, Agatha Harkness.
Well, she doesn't kill Agatha though.
Well,
No, she subjects her to a fate worse than death.
right, but like she is the judge. Like she acts as judge is more my point. And she makes that like again, a character like Wanda, if she was going to go down the road of a redemption arc, she would have let Spectrum take the lead on that. But she doesn't.
Mm.
You know,
I think we're just like me and Gan are just gonna have to agree to disagree with Mill and Jack because
I
it's
don't
just like
I mean, I agree that Multiverse of Madness is not a great movie. It's not
no,
a
I
perfect
agree
movie.
with that. What I don't agree with, I don't think Wanda being the villain was like out of left field at all. I
It's
felt it was consistent with the developments of WandaVision.
it's less out of left field than
I
half
just think
of
it was poorly handled.
Rise of Skywalker.
I don't think
We're-
anyone's
That's
disagreeing
a low
with
fucking
that.
bar.
Who the
That's a low
fuck's
fucking bar.
who the
Yeah,
fuck's
Mill,
defending
or
Rise of
Jack,
Skywalker?
again, just, like if
Other than the people who
Um,
hate Ryan Johnson because they're sucking Elon Musk's dick.
Mm-hmm.
to
follow
be
us
fair,
on Twitter.
people hated
Follow us
Ryan
on
Johnson long before he made fun of Elon Musk.
Yeah, but now there's crossover.
It's kind of funny, honestly.
another Glass Onion aside. Uh, Ed Norton's character was not meant to be a was not meant to be an Elon Musk takedown.
He was actually
I
more fond of Jobs.
No,
yes.
Mark. I was going for Mark. I was thinking more Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, yeah, I get that he social networked that lady, but at the same time, I don't know. I was getting pretty strong.
Johnson has said in interview. I'm taking this from interviews.
Okay, I get that he said that, but like, it's not how it feels. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's still the intent.
Right, but again, back to WandaVision. All
How
like
do y'all feel about Spectre?
I
About what now? Spectrum?
Spectrum. I wish So here's my thing.
I wish there was a bit more agency and development in that.
Yes.
I
Also,
will
like
say,
my other thing is like, I wanted like, if Wanda was going to be the character within the narrative, like within the medium, Spectrum should have been the character with like who is outside of it,
Mm.
who is like almost in the like. Think about it in, like in terms of the comic book, like Spectrum is the character inside the like the between the panels. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's
I do sadly feel that that is the point where I believe you're giving Marvel's writing team a bit too much credit.
I'm gonna say a hot take that's probably lukewarm at most, but I don't think like 90% of writers, comic or MCU, are capable of writing Wanda all that well.
Wanda's a hard character. I will
She
agree with
is a
that.
hard character, but at the same time, like she has been written so poorly so many times. It's
Um.
honestly kind of frustrating.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Hmm?
So you know how like in Old Boy, Elizabeth Olsen bangs her dad.
Oh boy.
Right.
Does does Scarlet Witch ever canonically bang Magneto?
No.
No,
I know the twincest is canon.
that's the
Only in
Ultimates
the
universe,
Ultimate universe, which
which is
is
what
dumb and edgy.
which is also what the MCU is based on.
Yes, so
Partially, yes.
so we know that the incest is canon. Or twincest rather, which is somehow worse.
Um.
Not worse than parental. No, definitely not.
Well, no, it's worse than regular sibling incest, but it's not worse
Okay.
than parental.
What's
Any
your point, Fuzzy?
Are we really
I
getting
just like
into the?
segueing the Elizabeth Olsen thing into asking whether or not Scarlet Witch ever banged Magneto.
No.
no.
Okay, carry on.
Um. What was I saying? Anything. But like
Damn it, Fuzzy.
s-
I
going
will
like
not apologize.
going back to Spectrum, like, yes, I may be giving too much credit to Marvel's writers, but on the other hand, I
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a level like, but like on some level, like as a critic, it's important to push, like to be able to say like I wish this was a way in which they leaned into their bit, or this is a thing that they could have done differently. Um, like say, um, I don't know, like how we all kind of wish Obi-Wan leaned more into the trauma of the war on Obi-Wan's psyche, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like,
I funnily enough, I felt the opposite. I was like hoping
but like that
uh
would have been like that, like, or even like for Book of Boba Fett, like, you know, what does it mean for someone like Boba Fett to exist in the world of the post Empire, right? Like a character like him who's seen pretty much everything happen. Where's like the old tired man? Like that is a character that is what they should have leaned into, but with Boba Fett. And like
And
people
they
as
didn't.
right, and like as a critic, you have to want that. Like those are the takes you those are the shots you wish they took. And so again, like in many ways, like Spectrum as a character, someone who like in the moment in which they gain their powers, they are seen breaking the wall, right? Like going through the fourth wall. You know, you wish that they like, you know, you wish that they leaned into the bit.
okay, on the subject of wishing for things like this. I do wish there was more Paul Bettany.
Yeah, Paul Bettany is a delight.
Paul
Bettany was
Bettany is
really good.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad he actually
good.
gets a chance to really show off his
Chops.
chops in this series.
I legitimately don't remember if my first experience with Paul Bettany was A Knight's Tale or A Beautiful Mind.
Knight's Tale for me. Knight's Tale for me.
I think it
I
was
s-
probably a beautiful mind for me.
I saw A Knight's Tale first, but I didn't recognize him as Paul Bettany until A Beautiful Mind. Um,
Beautiful Mind is a strange movie to think about in retrospect.
yeah, but
I mean, A
like,
Knight's Tale is also kind of insane for how stacked a cast it had.
yeah.
In retrospect.
And also like, you know, we talk about like Paul Bettany's acting chops, but like this, was it episode 5? It was the episode in which Vision figures it out,
That was episode 4 or episode 5.
like during the credits. Like that argumentative scene between Wanda and
yeah.
Vision
5.
is an exquisite. Is Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen really letting their acting ability shine through?
I do like my favorite was the part where he was drunk because it reminded me of A Knight's Tale.
That was episode 2, I think.
Yeah, episode 2.
But
I love
I
how
mean-
they can remember so easily.
but like, I again, like, you know, I don't know. Like that was a great, like, I don't want to discount Elizabeth Olsen's acting ability at all. Like, say what you will about the way her character was written, she at least gave it her best shot.
No, she's like
Oh,
her
yeah.
emotional range in that series. In general, really, her emotional range is like she's one of those actresses or actors in general who can make you understand what they're feeling just by making faces.
Yeah,
That is a surprisingly
Elizabeth-
difficult achievement.
Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress, and I'm surprised she hasn't gotten more credits before this point. She's just excellent in basically
partially-
everything in the MCU she's been doing.
I think part of the reason for that is she was overshadowed by her twin sisters. Which, funnily enough, the reverse has now happened. But
What? Elizabeth Olsen has sisters?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little.
Oh fucking hell! Old boy had Josh Brolin, Palm Clementine,
Yeah, no,
Elizabeth Olsen,
absolutely,
and
like-
Samuel L. Jackson. What?
Do you have any idea how many old boy memes came out like around the time of Endgame?
it
What
was
the fuck?
quite a bit, yes.
What the
It's
fuck?
like a disturbing amount.
But you know, I think like the weakest like main actor in WandaVision is Spectrum's actress.
Oh, Teyonah Paris.
Yeah, like I think she was the weakest of that cast.
I think
Which is
there's.
saying something because the cast is still really fucking good.
I would also say I think it's also a case of bar Catherine Hahn, who, as we have said, is excellent.
Like Han
She's-
stole the show for sure.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
know this is the first time in this role for Paris, and it's also playing an aged up character.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
She is trying to do a lot of work
Mm.
to establish this character, and I can understand
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
I'm not dissing her ability at all. I'm just saying of this group in this show, she is the weakest of them.
Yeah.
I mean, she still gives a fairly good performance. It's just like she's at like an 8, and everyone else is at a 10 or 11.
Mm.
And Catherine Hahn is at 13. You know?
And Paul Bettany is just like beating people over the head with the scale.
Yes.
I do kind of like it. Look, there are a lot of ways they could have resolved that final thing. Ship of Theseus, really,
I honestly thought it was kind of fun.
really.
I liked it, honestly. I
So
like
this
that
is
they solved it with a philosophical debate rather than like
Super.
an
No, no,
actual
no.
punch fight.
No, no, no. I wanted it to be a philosophical debate. I just think they chose like the laziest possible subject for the philosophical debate.
so this
There
is
are so much lazier subjects, Fuzzy. You know it.
this is also this is another thing, right? It's
Yes.
like um like you were saying it earlier, Fuzzy. Like they were trying to reach towards the lowest common denominator towards the end, right? In many ways, Ship of Theseus is one of the more well-known philosophical thought experiments.
It's also one that's fairly easy to understand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not going to fly over a bunch of people's heads.
I do hope this is not the last we see of Albino Vision.
I doubt
It
it.
probably won't be.
I like purple Paul Bettany, but I will accept albino Paul Bettany, especially since the writers have proven that they are capable of compressing an emotional arc with a soft reboot character.
Well,
Mm.
here's
Say what you
so
will about Loki, they did a great job with compressing his 3 phase long
Well,
emotional arc into like 2 seasons.
isn't there going
Yeah.
to be a
Vision
spit?
show.
Yeah, a
Yes.
Vision show called Vision Quest.
Yes.
Oh,
And they're
fuck.
going to
Hell yeah.
base it off of the storyline in which Vision builds his own family.
I don't see it listed on the schedule anywhere.
There it was coming up. It was like in the works. I don't know if it's actually happening or
That
Yeah.
can't possibly go horribly wrong.
Honestly, though, Vision Quest sounds like it would be a good idea. They
Oh, no,
might be
it's
putting that
absolutely
into
like
phase 6.
it is possibly the single best idea they've had doing Vision Quest, like in the way that they're doing it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I just like want to watch the world burn a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, October 28th, 2022, report that a WandaVision spin-off series centered on White Vision tabbed Vision Quest was in development for Disney+.
Okay, so it's in development. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only
Can I just say something? A little meta commentary here.
sure.
I'm very proud of us, and I think you should all like be proud of yourselves. We're doing like good podcast work. A lot of the time on podcasts, we do tend to default to just giving episode by episode summaries and brief comments. And like, I see this as a sign of growth that we're able to have like an actual meaningful conversation on the topic without resorting to that.
it also
But
helps
like,
that
round of applause.
it also helps that this is a work that lends itself well to discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention,
Also,
it has a lot of tangentially connected stuff that we can talk about as well.
don't speak too soon. We've only been going for an hour.
Fucking hell.
I think we're about ready to get started on Mom then.
No, we should talk about WandaVision a little bit more first.
I mean, we've covered most of the cogent points, I think. What else, like what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking we should talk about like the actual sticking points that Gen was mentioning with regard to the
Mm.
climax.
Yes, again, please take the floor.
Okay, so my main issue with the end is shall we
Coming out of the
say
sky battle, right?
yes. So I watched this with my partner, where you know, like we were both really jiving with the way the story was going up until the last little bit, where it kind of just fell off. It was good TV until that last bit, because it then just turned into this weightless, um, it turned into this weightless like punch 'em up like that didn't have any narrative bite to it, right? Like if you're gonna do this like big thing, make it mean something. And like, white vision versus regular vision, that kind of meant something.
There
But
was a little bit of emotional heft to it, as much as I am not a fan of the of defaulting to Ship of Theseus. There was some emotional heft there.
whereas for Agatha versus Wanda, that just wasn't. Right? You didn't have Agatha threatening the kids. You didn't have
Yes.
Agatha threatening the kids or, attempting to like, wield the talent. Like it would have been more interesting to twist the narratives into something like take the narratives that Wanda like remembered so well and so loved and make it traumatic. Really turn it into trauma.
I think the primary reason for that is the same reason that Mom kind of sucked in many ways.
Well, it's the same reason why a lot of Marvel properties tend to fall short.
Yes, because they
Mm.
always need to tie it into the next one.
Or not even that, like there needs to be this sense of like comic book grandiosity. They're not they,
Because-
they
I
don't
Go
do
ahead.
think that they were scared to end it without a big battle scene. Because
yes,
especially
and
considering this was the first,
Mhm.
I don't want to say proper because that feels like I'm dissing, stuff like Agents of Shield, but you
But
know, the first
Look,
first true,
you
the first
literally.
Disney Plus series in the MCU, and like
So,
they needed to make this land.
okay, can I just say something real quick? And this
Yeah.
is like very dumb of me, but I am gonna say it anyway. I felt not betrayed. There was a very unpleasant feeling I had at the end of WandaVision and in Mom,
Mhm.
because I was, to my great guilt, and I'm sure Gen can sympathize with this, an avid watcher of Agents of Shield.
mm,
Because I just really like Agent Phil Coulson.
same.
Phil Coulson is nice. He's a
He's
great
like
character.
one of the best written characters in the entire series. And like he's good on an MCU wide level, and I maintain that even in Agents of Shield.
I
Because
agree.
he's just like a good dude. He's like a dude and he's chill. And I like that. And I love
Yeah.
like and also, are you guys aware that he briefly became Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is great. Um
Speaking of Ghost Rider, I wonder if he's going to pop up in the MCU again at any point.
They
I
might
mean,
they honestly might do a soft reboot. They might I get that they were going for Robbie Reyes, but they might just go for the white dude at this point because they want to wash their hands of Agents of Shield.
I
Well,
mean,
they
to be
might
fair,
bring Robbie Reyes back.
Nick Cage is kind of busy with Renfield at this point, so
No, I
Look,
want Nick Cage. Damn it.
yeah, no,
look,
Nick Cage or
I
bust.
will be honest.
You know what they could do? They could combine the two and have Nick Cage as the older mentor Ghost Rider to Robbie Reyes.
Don't give me things I can't have.
Don't make me dream beautiful dreams and then wake up to reality.
By the way,
Oh,
we should
hell,
all watch. We should
I
all
would
watch Round
pay
the Ice.
money
yeah.
for that. Can we start a Kickstarter? Like a petition? Can we start a petition to have like a Ghost Rider movie in which Nick Cage mentors Robbie Reyes in the ways
That'd
of
be
the Ghost Rider?
That'd be so fucking rad, honestly.
I would pay for that. Also, are you guys like Hugh Jackman is back, right?
Yes,
As
he is.
Wolverine, yeah.
As
Last
because he was
time.
like, okay, the Fox's X-Men killed my passion, and then Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool dragged me right back, and now it's MCU time, so let's go.
Well, I think Jackman is only doing this because it's a funny bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he has a funny thing, like a funny thing about, like he has a good friendship
He has
with
good
Ryan.
banter with Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Yes, that's what I
Also,
meant.
so can I just say one thing though? There is
Sure.
one I saw. Everyone's like, there's no one who can possibly replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And ICE actually saw a suggestion that really did make me feel like there was a valid option.
Okay,
And I don't know if you're going to guess this.
valid option for Wolverine. I'm blank. I'm exhausted, so maybe I might not get
Just
it.
out with
Again,
it.
or Mill, Jack, any
I'm
ideas?
bad at these at the best of times.
I'm not great with fan castings.
Is it somebody who's more closely aligned to the comics design of
No.
Wolverine?
It's someone who could be a spiritual successor to Jackman's Wolverine. Think
Okay.
of the way Robert Pattinson played Batman. Think
Oh,
along
yep.
those lines.
Is it
Okay.
Robert Pattinson?
Not Robert Pattinson. But think of the transition of Batman's from
Timothy
Bale to
Chalamet.
Affleck. Huh?
Timothy Chalamet.
No.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh.
Fuck yeah, yeah, you're right. Shit.
Damn
Because
it.
have you seen pictures of Daniel Radcliffe with his shirt off?
Have you seen anything he's been in? He's a nightmare. He's a gremlin. So
He's
yes.
Yes.
full gremlin. I
He's
love
the
him.
perfect you just give him some spikes on his head. You don't let him shave for a few weeks. Have him he doesn't even have to work out because Wolverine's never really been. He's more chunky than he is ripped.
Also, just
And
release Radcliffe into the woods for a while, collect him in a few weeks, and then put him in the set, and you're good to go.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Basically.
right. I
Just make
think Radcliffe is a valid option for Wolverine.
just turn him into a feral monster, yeah, and you're good to go.
It's not. Have you seen some of his plays? It's
I
not
have,
that
yeah.
far off.
I
think-
saw the one where he was a weird priest.
I think there was one YouTuber who does fan castings a lot who brought up
How in God's name did Daniel Radcliffe, of all people, turn out so well?
no idea. No fucking clue.
Look,
Daniel
there's
Radcliffe
a
is
lot there's a lot you can say about. I mean, Harry Potter in general. We spent like a good 3.5 hours ranting about it on stream, but those films actually managed to turn out some of the most well-adjusted child actors.
Yeah,
I mean,
Daniel
partially,
Radcliffe.
partially because the adult actors did their best to protect the kid actors.
Yeah, because most of them were pretty good people.
Yeah, when you've got Alan Rickman, Michael Gambon. Wait, is Michael Gambon canceled?
No.
He's not.
Okay,
he's
good.
not said anything about Rowling.
And what's her? I always forget. It's not Judy. No, it's. I always
Dame-
remember two
Dame
out of the
Maggie
three
Smith.
Dames.
Dave
Dame
Maggie
Maggie
Smith,
Smith.
yeah.
Yeah, Maggie Smith, Judi Dench, Helen Mirren, Maggie Smith. I always forget about Maggie Smith.
Fun fact: Helen Mirren. I think is it Helen Mirren. One of them is going to be on Only Murders in the Building, by the way.
Damn.
Which, sidebar, great show. Selena Gomez, weirdly good actress.
So yeah, I'm just Daniel Radcliffe is a phenomenal actor. Emma Watson is a UN ambassador for major human rights issues, and Rupert Grint's just chilling.
He bought
Yeah.
an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like
For
he's
him.
chilling and is like
Good for
that's
him.
honestly the dream.
Mm.
You just like get your residuals and just like buy an ice cream truck and move on with your life.
Or you're Macaulay Culkin and marry London Tipton.
Oh
To
yeah,
be fair, he paid the price for that. It's like a very monkey's paw situation. He got to
No.
marry London Tipton, but that was after,
Everything else, yeah.
yeah.
That's still wild to me that they're married.
They're not
Yep.
technically married. They just have a kid together.
But
But like they're together, right? They're like
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
so that by itself is already more than you can say for most celebrities. I'm just like I'm shocked that Brenda Song was in something in the year of our Lord 2022.
Yeah, Amphibian, wasn't it?
No, she was in The Quarry.
yeah, The Quarry.
All right.
Like not as a voice actor, as like her actual
Yeah, because
Oh,
pseudo
yeah.
self.
yeah, they like
But speaking of child actors, to bring it back around,
Mm.
child actors in WandaVision are actually pretty good.
I thought they did a good job, yeah. The kids were good.
I think the line delivery from the babies in episode 3 was a bit
Oh,
lacking.
you're just
Oh,
being
come on!
hard. They
Look,
just because they couldn't
Are you-
dub it their
I
kid
Are you
dub
play?
it that
I was
way.
being serious. I'll be offended.
Are you?
Uh,
Sorry, that
Right.
it's also that's just reminding me of one of my favorite bits from Sean Locke, the comedian, who's unfortunately passed away since. Where
uh-huh.
so there's this quiz show called the Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Love that. Love it.
Yeah, that's at the
honest.
end of every year, and every time they get a class from a certain primary school to basically act out a play of a news story throughout the year. And after one of them, where Sean Locke was on, everyone was like complimenting him, going, "Oh yeah, that was really well acted." And Sean Locke just goes, "Actually, I thought it was shit," and just goes on a 5-minute rant about how he thinks that children shouldn't act and that they shouldn't be coddled for their shitty acting ability. And this rant was as a result of childhood trauma where a nun hit him with a broom.
Oh my god.
It's fucking hilarious. It's so funny. It's one of the few things where James Corden actually adds humor to the situation because he's just losing his fucking shit next to him.
That's great.
I mean, that's the only way James Corden does anything of value.
Honestly,
Ooh.
when he was on the British comedy circuit very early on, he wasn't too bad.
Eh,
He had his moments.
okay.
Again, he's playing off better comedians and better people, but he does actually still have his moments.
Okay, that's fair. But I guess getting back to WandaVision, we should
Yeah.
actually.
See what I meant about talking too soon? I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure what else we can say in a general sense that we haven't already said.
Yeah, I mean, we can go to Multiverse of Madness now, but
I mean, if we're gonna discuss Multiverse of Madness, I'd only want to discuss it in.
we should discuss it in relation to
Yeah.
Wanda's character. Like, in many ways,
You
like,
mean you don't want to talk about America? I just like
America.
a lot of people have pointed this out. I get that it's actually a name. Just the delivery on the lines sometimes whenever they were talking about America is just like it definitely sounded like they were talking about the country.
yeah, I mean, it is a relatively common name. I knew of America Chavez prior to this,
Yeah,
Um,
as did I.
like as a character.
I just am. I kind of wish they hadn't changed the character so drastically in an adaptation.
I mean, like sometimes you have to, like Arnim Zola, right? Like Arnim Zola is a character who definitely needed to be changed.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I mean personality wise.
yeah. Um, but you know, what is it? I think they really fucked up by not having it be a true like battle of two evils between the Illuminati and Wanda, right?
Oh, that was just a curb stomping.
No, so here's the thing. We're aware of like the Sam Raimi bits and the executive meddling bits, right? And that
Yes.
they were very much different
Yeah.
beasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about it?
No, I just like I just remembered. I'm pretty sure wasn't the entirety of the Illuminati subplot forced onto Sam Raimi?
I don't recall. I'll have to look.
Maybe, but like at the same time, like you have so
It's,
you have like
oh, hell.
of the Illuminati members that I'm remembering, right? You have Captain Marvel in the form of Monica Rambeau.
Mhm.
You have Captain Carter.
Wait,
You have
was that I always forget which is the mom Monica or is the mom
Mom
Maria?
is Maria. Maria's
oh
the mom.
Yeah,
Monica is the daughter.
sorry, yeah,
yeah, I thought so.
Maria Rambeau, Captain Carter, Reed Richards, and Xavier, right? Like those are your
And
five.
Black Bolt. Yes.
Eh, um,
Okay, Black Bolt was so hilariously BS. I don't know if it was intentional or not at this point.
but my point is like the Illuminati acts as like each one is a like a splinter of who Wanda is at that point, right? You have Maria Rambeau, a character like a person who finds themselves with all of this power very suddenly and has to learn how to control it. Captain
And
Carter.
also, as evidenced by all of her scenes in that movie, becomes very smug about it.
Captain Carter, a character who we see in the What If series, like she loses, she loses Steve. She loses the love of her life. Wanda does, like obviously, right? You have Reed Richards, very famously a overprotective father and a family man. Professor
Mhm.
Xavier, a man who has dreams of like equality and power for the
Also,
downtrodden, and
an
like
absolute shit father.
also an absolute shit father, absolute shit parent. But
But
in
that's not
terms,
really delved into in the movies.
but like when we talk about Xavier in terms of like the Fox series, because that's the fact that they're pulling, Patrick Stewart, they're pulling on that specific Xavier. You're pulling on a Xavier who is like who's done a lot of shit things, but for the better of people, right? And that's what Wanda thought she was doing in Age of Ultron, doing shit things to help the people who were hurt by the Avengers and specifically Stark. Black Bolt is a non-character, so I'm not going to talk about him. But
Well, you could say that he's ludicrously overpowered.
right, but like each of them, like in many ways, they are Wanda taken to an extreme in each a different aspect. In much the same way, one has like someone can make the argument that the Batman rogues are each an aspect of Batman's madness personified and like almost hyperbole, right?
Hmm.
So they like sure, Sam Raimi could have been forced into the Illuminati subplot, but it's a real missed opportunity to make it a battle of two evils with, Strange and America Chavez trying to survive in the middle.
I do agree that that would have been better. I do think the characters would have had to be reworked a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's because like I think Raimi. Here's the thing. If
You
it
need you need more build up when you're gonna
yes.
pull the Illuminati out of your ass.
Also, no. Here's the thing. It depends. Do we know at what point in the script Raimi was told, or
I
like
don't
what point
know.
in shooting? Because like if it was late enough, there's a legitimate chance he could have just been had to resort to. He could have just given up, right? If it was late enough that he didn't have time to do them justice, so he made them as hateable as possible instead.
but I mean what is it? God, what is I gonna say? I don't know. I don't think like if even if he had to pick just one like you know, let's say it's just one of the Illuminati, right? You could make an argument for Reed. Like
That does depend on who they're gonna get. Like, are they gonna get? That's the question, isn't it? Are they gonna get John Krasinski for their?
they're not.
I hope not. I hope they go with someone younger. Because as fun as it
I
was to have John Krasinski cameo, I don't think he should play like Reed full time.
no.
Like,
If they go with multiverse and if they pull an existing Fantastic Four to the MCU,
So
then
they
older Reed
no,
works.
what I think they might do is they might do a council of Reeds, and they might have John Krasinski play one of the older Reeds.
they've already just said that they're not going to do that.
Okay, good.
Like they've already said that, the Reed that we've gotten is not the Reed. If they do decide to do it, it's not the Reed they're going to use.
Which is honestly just a terrible waste of John Krasinski.
But Krasinski doesn't need to do this, right? He's too big of a name in many
Mm.
ways.
I do like the MCU's general practice of hiring unknowns for major roles. Like, at least when the role starts out. Like, I can only think of like maybe 5 actors who had big names before starting in Marvel, at least prior to like Phase 3.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was a fading actor.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, the only ones I can think of that were like big names prior to Phase 3 were Paul Rudd, Samuel L. Jackson, to a lesser
And
extent, Chris
I mean,
Evans.
Samuel L. Jackson was to avoid a lawsuit, so
no, no, no. So they based Nick Fury off
In
of
the
the
Ultimate
Ultimate,
Comics.
who was already a very loving and an approved parody of Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson specifically approved of them using his likeness if and only if he could play Nick Fury in the movies.
yeah.
So, but like he knew about it.
Well, no,
I mean, like
I thought the point is that nobody, when they first designed him to look like Samuel L. Jackson, they didn't realize that Jackson was a comics fan, and he suddenly saw it and went, "Did we give permission for this?" And Marvel's like, well, yeah, it's to set up for you playing him in the movies."
I think I
I'm
read
down.
somewhere that he actually they approached him and asked him for this, and he was like, "Yeah, of course, I love this shit." Like they knew he was a big comics fan because he's a big. This is the same man who wanted a purple lightsaber and stole it.
I
Good on
don't
him
know.
for doing
I remember my version, but I could be wrong. It's it is what it is.
But to say like all that to say, like I think John Krasinski as a of the Illuminati characters, him and Maria Rambeau are the best possible foils for Wanda.
But again, what about Black Bolt?
I'm going to kill you.
Oh, also, apparently Daniel Craig was considered to be cast for Balder to be in the Illuminati.
Why?
He backed out because of COVID.
Also, good. I want him to be a gay detective.
Yes,
Is he
he
like
is
so?
great.
Oh, I only watched Glass Onion, so I wasn't actually aware of this. Is he canonically gay? Because that's really
Yes.
cool if he
Yes.
is. That's okay.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, in Glass Onion, he lives with Hugh Grant.
Who
Yeah,
plays
but
his
like,
partner?
yeah, no, a lot of like, um,
I mean, Daniel Craig himself has a
I
very
watched it with my mom and my cousins, and we were all like, wait, are they roommates or
No,
roommates?
they're roommates.
but
He
yeah,
Yeah,
works
like
with
okay,
their
yeah.
roommate.
like Daniel Craig himself just has a very fluid relationship with his own sexuality. So
Oh yeah, he's mentioned several times about kissing men.
apparently, just hangs out in gay bars as well.
Yeah. Apparently,
Look,
they're a better environment than straight bars.
Not surprising.
look,
That is true. Yes.
more power to him.
Yeah.
But you know, but like more like again to my point, like I think they, in favor of having like the whole Illuminati, they overextended themselves for the
Mm.
sake of a reference,
Hmm.
which I think hurt them, because like imagine if they had just focused on Reed, right, or Maria, that would have been great.
Honestly, I
Because
feel like the multiverse aspect was just kind of underfocused overall.
also,
Yeah, it was
like,
kind of just a few different color palettes that they swam through, and that
It was
was
literally
basically it.
it was literally 3 universes that actually had a role in the story, and the rest were just like covered in that one montage. And that's literally all we get of the multiverse. I don't know. I just wish there was more exploration of the multiverse itself.
I mean, the thing is though, is like they can't, because the best way to do that is in a television series that's episodic, because you can
Yeah,
really like because you have the time to do
It's
that.
why I have some
that's
hope
what
for
What
season 2
If
of Loki
actually
as well.
is. Yeah, season 2 of Loki is promising, but that's basically what If is. It's exploring alternate universes.
But like, I don't know. My whole thing on multiverses should be that they should be as weird as they fucking can be.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, especially in shows like especially in What If or Multiverse of Madness, they are not. Like, I want to see, Throg, Peter
Oh God.
Porker. Like, I
I
want
want
those.
an entire series based on Korg.
I want Spider's Man. I want his world.
Spider-Man is
I mean that's the
awesome.
thing. I just don't think. I mean, I don't think any of us here think that Marvel is ever going to be brave enough to do anything like that.
No, and no,
No,
not
they
Marvel,
play it safe too often.
like not Marvel, and especially not Disney's Marvel,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that so like again, sorry to bring it back to Andor again, but like when Andor came out, no one was expecting anything, partially because Disney, and then Andor was like this really amazing treatise on like communism and the ways in which revolution shape us and develop us. um and no one expected that show to get made, especially not in Disney.
Yeah.
um and then it did. And so like that's less the rule and more the exception.
I think the difference is that Star Wars as a franchise, it's obviously not dying, but it with the with the new trilogy, it took a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but
know-
they were also like part because the new trilogy took a hit. That would often that would suggest that they would try to play it safer
Mm-hmm.
and not push the boundary like in this, like with Andor, you know. And unfortunately, like that's kind of what happened with WandaVision. Like Marvel wasn't willing to take a risk, and they didn't hire someone like a director like Tony Gilroy who had a vision, like enough of a vision or enough creative freedom to do it,
Mm.
to take that vision to its like logical conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And
You know
like,
what's real interesting? Oh, sorry.
I mean,
Keep on your-
like in many ways, like the best way they could have done this was like had whoever was the director of WandaVision be the director of Multiverse of Madness if they were going to make it a Wanda story.
Or at the very least could have had them executive producing and consulting with Sam Raimi.
Matt Shackman, by the way, is the director of WandaVision.
What else did he do? What else has he done?
He's done a lot of TV stuff, mostly one-off episodes. He did a lot of episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay, that actually tracks.
Um,
That makes a depressing amount of sense.
Right?
he also did some episodes of House. He did a
Okay.
couple episodes of Everybody Hates Chris.
I mean, Everybody Hates Chris is great.
6
That is
episodes.
a show that I don't know. You know what? Do you know what the worst part of Everybody Hates Chris is?
Everybody Hates Chris?
No. It's that it made people think that they could just copy that formula and it would work.
I mean, I will always appreciate that show for introducing me to Terry Crews.
Terry Crews is always great.
He's
I
had
just-
he's had his lesser great moments, honestly.
He has.
Mm,
Wait, is Terry Crews canceled?
He said some
No.
things.
oh, really?
Oh
mean-
no.
I mean, he's more pro cop than you would think.
That's
Mm, that's unfortunate.
I mean, he does play one on TV.
But Matt Shackman has also did a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Which ones?
Spoils of War in the 7th season, and Eastwatch in the
I
7th
love how-
season.
I love how angrily you asked that.
What was the second one, Mill?
Eastwatch. So 4 and 5 of season 7.
Okay, those are not the worst ones in season 7.
No. Um,
Spoils of War is actually probably the best one of season 7, actually.
but
I mean, but I mean, like this is, I don't know. I think Matt Jackman didn't stick. He didn't have either enough creative freedom or he was just not comfortable enough to, stick the landing.
I mean, apparently, so in terms of Multiverse of Madness, apparently filming was incredibly hectic, to the point where the scriptwriter was basically getting the next day's scenes off the night before,
Fucking hell.
like printing them out.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
Mhm.
That is not the mark of an organized script
He apparently
or an organized production.
Raimi did apparently have complete creative freedom to the extent of, he still had to obviously follow Marvel law. But
I was able to do whatever beyond that.
yeah, but to be fair, apparently, because of, again, scheduling issues, Multiverse of Madness was apparently supposed to be before WandaVision and No Way Home.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's a hell of a set of changes to make.
Yeah. and then suddenly No Way Home and WandaVision are after it, and there's a whole lot of
Even before it?
scrambling to change things. I mean, apparently, Wanda was supposed to be helping Strange in America, in the
Oh.
early drafts.
According to Benedict Cumberbatch, literally the only thing that didn't change was the title of the film.
Yeah. Eventually, the writer basically, because the early drafts did have Wanda, becoming a/the villain by the end, and the writer eventually just went, all right, if we're gonna have Wanda as a villain, she's gonna be the villain for the whole movie.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes a lot of sense as to why they underutilize stuff like the Illuminati and things.
Yeah, I mean, also COVID just threw a wrench into a lot of plans.
Oh yeah,
We
absolutely.
I think that's something we have to keep in
Can we I know we're talking about WandaVision, but can we talk about Benny Combs a bit and his bits in the movie?
I would hold until
Yeah.
we do a Doctor
I mean,
Strange retrospective, but
Again, if we're gonna talk about actors, I'd rather talk about WandaVision's actors. We've obviously talked about Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and Catherine
Or
Hahn.
great.
Randall Park, fucking love that guy.
he was
excellent.
he's great in Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. I'm certain I've mentioned this before, but obviously when he started reappearing in WandaVision, he got a big bump as that. Oh, he's Asian Jim from The Office, and people started getting a little bit annoyed because that's obviously not the only role he's been in. And I'm sat there just like, I know him as that dude from House who tried to circumcise himself with box cutters.
Ew.
Yeah,
I remember that guy.
Yeah.
I remember that episode. That was a fun
Yeah.
episode.
Wait, was he also the one who liked No, that was someone else, never mind.
Yeah, no, that was his only appearance, but it was just like that's where I know Randall Park from, which is probably not what the first the first thing Randall Park would want you to think about when you see him.
Nope.
I'm not saying obviously he hated the role, but just being associated as somebody who fucking tried to circumcise himself horribly.
I mean, to be fair, when he was being called Asian, after WandaVision, people were like, "Oh, Asian Jim," and apparently he was like, "These racist motherfuckers," not realizing he played Asian Jim on The Office.
Yeah.
He genuinely forgot.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
To be fair, in some cases it might have just been them mispronouncing Agent Jim.
No.
No, they were saying Asian Jim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he did actually play, like the Asian version of the character Jim in The Office as part of a prank.
Yes.
Oh, see, I don't watch The Office.
No, neither do I.
Never
I
did.
only know that one by osmosis.
Yes, because of the memes.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into it. I
There's
think
a-
my only exposure to it was the first episode and Scott's Tots, which basically warned me off from ever watching the show.
Yeah, The Office has a great series of jokes and fandom references. I'd love to be a part of one someday.
But
No?
I mean, just I'm just going back to actors.
I mean, that's the other thing. There's a reason Randall Park is in this show, right?
Yeah, because he's a good actor.
Not even just because of that, but because he's a bit from a bit character. Him and Kat Jennings are all.
Okay, are you sure they put that much thought into it?
It's a good coincidence.
Yeah, I'm I do believe that you may be giving them a little bit too much credit for happy accidents.
But I mean, they're those to be fair, Randall Park and Kat Dennings are two of the more famous actors from sitcom TV in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
This is true, yes.
Right, and of course they get put on the one show about sitcom TV. But I mean, I don't know. But like,
I'm just on TV tropes going through the what could have been bit for WandaVision. Um,
I mean, my now knowing that like WandaVision was supposed to come afterwards, I do wonder, like, if the like my main complaint, one of my main complaints, which is what's his face, um,
The kid
uh,
government guy.
no, what's his Ralph Boner, the
Oh
Dick
yeah.
Joke, the Dick Joke character, if that was supposed to be something else entirely, and that had to get changed because of COVID.
hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so definitely stuff, other stuff was pushed back while WandaVision could keep going because it was easier to stay within COVID protocols due to how it was
Yeah.
filmed. What else is there? So apparently the biggest COVID change to the
Was
finale.
also the finale because
Yeah.
everyone was so spaced apart.
Yeah, apparently there was in the scene where the townspeople confront Wanda, they were supposed to swarm her and attack her.
Which would have made her turn in Multiverse of Madness make more sense.
Apparently, the I think that's the creator, Jack Schaefer.
Jack Schaefer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
found it more
she's
psychologically
the
compelling.
showrunner.
Yeah. Found it more psychologically compelling to do have them, reveal how miserable they are.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Agatha was actually supposed to be more of a mentor-like figure, like the comics.
I could see that still being the case, at least to Wiccan.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, Schaefer decided that Agatha would work better structurally as an antagonist.
I mean, in terms of the show itself, I do think that was probably the
Probably,
better choice.
probably the right call. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It just
Okay. Um. Apparently, the only reason this and the other MCU like Disney Plus series have released weekly is because of how well it went for The Mandalorian.
Oh, thank God.
Apparently, was planned to have them just dropped all at once, a la Netflix.
That would have been such a bad decision.
And
Yeah,
let's
and like that,
Would it?
I think
No, I think the added, intrigue, certainly for WandaVision, of wait, what the
yes,
fuck's going on, would not have worked
Yeah,
if it had been dropped. If it'd
The
been
week
dropped
to week
altogether.
discussion is
Yeah.
what rocketed WandaVision up in a lot of people's minds.
Mhm.
It would not have worked if it was just
No.
a drop and done show like
Mhm.
yes, I agree with that. And like, also to add to that, right? Like, how was I gonna say? Like, WandaVision, like you don't get the weirdness of episode 1 really coming across if you can immediately go to episode 2.
Mhm.
It becomes less horror. Like
Yeah.
something's wrong. You just can't tell.
True. But like also a lot of people do just binge it.
No, I binged it. I binged
But
it. But, like, I do still think that, maybe it would have been better if I'd watched it weekly.
having like I watched it week to week and it was great.
Mhm.
Like like it works really well because it was week to week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it can go week to week, you have this ability of the show to like really lean into
Mhm.
like you have the ability of the show to like really lean into like the weirdness and the what do I want to say, the
The
dramatic
eccentricity.
dramatic horror of the
Mm.
like, you know, you don't you know something's wrong, and you can hear like, especially in the ends, like in the end stingers, when you get like people's going Wanda, Wanda,
Mm.
like all of that, like that doesn't work as well when you can just go to the next episode,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
even discounting like, the discussion aspect, which you
Yeah.
can't.
Mm-hmm. Also, fun little fact I found. Apparently, Randall Park and Kat Dennings are of the opinion that the characters did not get snapped out of existence.
Mm. Yeah.
Partially because Jimmy Woo wouldn't have had time to, learn the card trick if
Yes,
he
I
had
agree.
been.
I agree
Whereas
with
Kat
that.
Dennings was of the opinion that Darcy's reaction to the snap would have been too hilarious to have her get snapped out.
Yes,
Also,
Kat, she's funny. I
yeah.
love her.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on a hilarious thing, Paul Bettany teased that the show was going to feature an actor who he's always wanted to work with, that his scenes with this actor are great and are going to be pretty intense. Turned out to be
Himself.
himself. Yep.
Himself. He's very humble about it too.
Yeah.
Look, it's Paul Bettany. He's earned a little bit of
Oh no, he absolutely
bragging.
has.
No.
Okay.
He's earned the bragging rights.
Do you guys think we're ready for my comic book rant?
Go
Yes.
for it. We're
Go
in
for
about
it.
the last 10 minutes, so yeah.
So, I am upset about a lot of things.
As
We
I,
noticed.
in particular, am upset about something that should be near and dear to all of our hearts: power scaling.
Oh boy.
First off, actually, you know what? Let me light a candle for Phil Coulson first of all. They had this entire arc with the Darkhold, and then it kind of just got completely invalidated by Mom,
Hmm.
which moms do tend to cause problems regarding
Hey.
your secret
Anyways.
diaries.
hey
Yeah.
now, hey now.
Anyways.
You're an all-star.
Get your game on. Go play.
Also, that's why all those shonen writers kill off moms.
Yes.
Oh, that was right. Mothers and adventure don't necessarily go together.
No, they're apparently antonyms. Apparently, according to Oda.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oda.
Look,
Anyways, get on with your fuzzy.
yes. So, one of the things that I am most upset about is the fact that they scaled Scarlet Witch up to near full power in a setting that is not ready for that at all.
Hmm.
Because Marvel is inherently. I was actually going to bring this up when you said this again. You talked about how Reed Richards is an overprotective father. The funny thing about that is how
I know.
yes, because Franklin Richards,
Yes, I know.
boy who casually
Creates
Warped
universes for
reality,
fun.
yes.
yes is one of the most
I know.
Broken, overpowered characters, yes.
in the series, yes. And I'm just they scaled her way too fast. Also, if Reed Richards of that universe has kids, that means Franklin Richards exists. So either they're just ignoring the fact that Franklin Richards is more powerful than Scarlet Witch, or they're just not giving Franklin Richards powers. I don't know which is worse. The entire dynamic of Scarlet Witch being Magneto's daughter, which is such a massive part of her character, got completely fricked over by Fox, obviously.
Right.
There's a lot of little things like that And I think Multiverse of Madness was just the culmination of that for me in just how it was all of those things coming together in unholy matrimony. And just
I think
like it was the biggest reminder to me of how there are genuinely things that even like outside of the context of comic books, even in the context of the medium, would have worked well, but like they just decided not to do it. Also, I'm a shameless Doctor Strange fan, and I just like don't like it that he was like completely slapped around for that whole movie.
yeah, I mean, how do I
His
say this?
climax thing was awesome,
Right? No, I mean,
but like every other part of it was kind of just like, but like you're supposed to be a cool wizard dude.
he's also
I
supposed
did
to be more.
like his duel with himself. That was fun.
He's also supposed to be more vaudeville than he was in general. Like Doctor Strange as a whole is more vaudeville than, uh, you know, suave sorcerer.
And fun, they did manage to get a decent amount of that through in like a lot of his other appearances. That came through beautifully in No Way Home.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think Doctor Strange in No Way Home was the best
Also, his little appearance in Ragnarok.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that was great.
yeah, like
When he's being a little shit, that's when he's at his best.
and like that's the thing is that he like is good at it.
And he really didn't, other than the scenes he had with Wong, who I still adore, by the way.
No,
Wong is
no,
great.
no. Wong is the greatest reimagining of a character that Marvel has done, like the MCU has done,
Mm.
period.
Yeah.
Mm.
But aside from his scenes with Wong, he isn't able to have that, sniping back and forth dynamic with anyone. Because obviously he can't have it with America because he's not going to snipe back and forth with a 14-year-old. That's sad even for him.
Well, he can. I mean, Logan. Like fundamentally, that's Logan's whole bit. Like Wolverine's whole bit in the comics is sniping with a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
The random
but
14, specifically the random 14-year-old girl of the week he's been paired with.
Logan gives far fewer shits than
Okay.
Doctor Strange does, though.
Also, you do make that sound far creepier than it actually is.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'm who I am.
But yeah,
Look,
so he couldn't.
Logan is the best dad to anyone who's not related to him by blood because he did name his son Mutt in Japanese.
Oh God, he did.
Yeah, he named his he has one son related to him by blood, and he named him Daken, which I believe is like stray dog or mutt in Japanese.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Um,
also you have to. I mean, to be fair, Wolverine is the prototype for all of the dad games we all have now.
mm.
Oh my god, you're right.
I
But yeah.
thought that was obvious.
Mm.
Was I the only one who caught that?
No, it's obvious. I'm just a dum dum.
But yeah. So yeah, just throughout the movie, there were so few characters he could have that snarking dynamic with. Um,
Wanda's too broken for that to be good.
Wanda's broken in a number of ways in that movie.
Like, you almost need Baron Mordo.
he does get a little bit of it with Mordo, but even then, he's sort of like too worried about things to really give it a good go.
Also, there's not. I feel that
It should
there's
have been
really.
It should have been the same Mordo.
It should have been the same Mordo because there was
really
not
wish they-
nearly enough sexual tension.
Also, I just want to imagine like Mordo just turns up at the Sanctum after Wanda's attacked and dragged Wong away, and is like, "I'm here to take my revenge, Strange." What the fuck happened here?
That would have actually been the best
That would have been
way
funny as hell. That would have been
of
so funny.
What the shit happened? Somebody beat me to it. God damn it!
Like you have this moment of like he has all of his like he has all of like the magical artifacts.
We,
And
we yeah we,
he's got
we
a
see
plus-
this.
yeah. You
we
give
see
him
this-
his montage where he's
Yeah,
suiting up.
Yeah.
and then
Like, okay, I think Mom should have been more of a horror comedy. It's
Yeah.
already
yes,
a comedy. It should have. Raimi's good at that. He's
Also-
Mr. Evil Dead. Just
Al-
like
Apparently
Also,
he
that's
had
what-
to like settle for less ambitious shots because of the scheduling issues.
also
well,
you know
obviously.
WandaVision is also horror comedy.
Mm.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah, no, it is.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's
You're
like
correct.
it is one of the most insidious kinds of horror comedy as well. It's because like you can't tell at first, and like it's not even. It's the
Excuse me.
modern style of horror that I appreciate far more than jump scare horror.
Mm.
It's the one where you just like feel icky on the inside throughout the whole thing, but you like it because you're a gross little
Yeah.
pervert.
I mean that's the thing, horror has very much taken a turn towards the jump scare variant.
No, it's turned back.
Has
Like-
it started
like-
to turn back? Okay.
Since
Um,
Hereditary, The Vivitch, things like that.
Yeah.
There's all of the critically acclaimed horror movies of recent memory have not been jump scare focused.
Okay, that's good.
What
But
was-
but the point
There
is
was
that
another. There was another one. I can't remember. Oh well.
I
Yeah,
don't
keep
watch
it-
horror movies. I just read the. I
no,
just
no,
listen to
neither do I,
podcasts.
because they scare the shit out of me, and especially those
Oh
ones
yes,
with
absolutely.
the
Last time
insidious
I watched,
atmosphere. Where
I
you can-
watched a really shitty horror movie. I think it was like The Conjuring or something in a theater.
Yeah.
Or rather, I literally had a panic attack because I just can't handle the like sensory stimulation.
But yeah, the point is that insidious, growing fear that something is wrong, is what makes horror.
It's not even that like knowledge that something is wrong. It's that there's also a sense of helplessness from WandaVision.
Yeah.
Where you know what's wrong. When you're looking at it from outside the screen, you can tell what's wrong. And it's just terrifying to see that they have no agency and control over themselves. That's like,
yeah. No, that
that's like modern horror.
those first couple of episodes where you're like, okay, something's wrong here. We know something's wrong here because Vision is alive. They're acting out old TV sitcoms. What the fuck's going on? And then you get that cut to the outside and you realize what's happening and you're like, oh, holy fucking shit.
And I
What
think
the
like
Oh
after
no,
that,
fuck?
Wanda's doing her thing. Oh god, it's another day of M all over again.
right?
Or
And
House
like,
of M.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, like that's I don't know, and I think like that's the problem. Is like, in many ways, they could have ended it with the reveal. If they had ended it with the reveal, mwah,
Well,
What reveal?
I mean, how to describe it? Like, you have like if they had ended one like instead tried like in many ways like let's say they go through all of this, right? They go through the whole series.
Mhm.
And then you almost like have a recontextualization episodes
Mm.
where like kind of like what they did do, but instead you have like
if it had been so if it had been a Loki length series, like if it had been 6 episodes, that would have been perfect. It was a bit too long for that to work, I think.
it needed one less episode.
I would argue 2 or 3 less episodes, honestly, because like you don't need that much recontextualization for the outside bits.
Well, I only say recontextualization as in like have like you know have the outer plot not be involved like have Wanda not be involved in the outer plot at all. Like have that be a Spectrum thing. Like Spectrum and Cat and all of them deal with it. and then and like Spectrum's whole plot, like her whole plot is breaking through the fourth wall, but like having weird what like having Wanda's powers cause weirdness to bounce it off. Does that make sense?
Mm.
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm
Like-
just like,
And like, you know how we like, you know, the villain is so cartoonish. What if that was like an aftershock of Wanda? Like he's cartoonish because he's a cartoon villain.
Mm.
Like he's a TV villain.
Oh, generic McWhite guy.
Yeah, yeah. And like, you know, you have like a weird like you have a weird moment where Pat Dennings and Randall Park are in a buddy comedy.
Mhm.
I mean, they kind of were for the entire one, so it's like that part is not that
But
Not
impossible.
much of a stretch, honestly.
but like, you know, like having these moments like instead of like each episode being a new Wanda episode, you have an episode where like Monica Rambeau is like, shit's getting weird, guys.
Mm.
That would, like, I get what you're saying, but that would absolutely be a Kat Dennings line.
But like,
It's just,
No.
no, I get it. Yeah.
but like, you know what I'm going for here.
No, I absolutely do.
Is there? I think we should probably start moving towards the end now.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any closing statements for WandaVision?
Great show hampered by cowardice.
Okay, not holding
Overall,
back on that one.
very good show. Had its flaws, but overall, still a very good time. And
And honestly,
I
it
wish
gave
Marvel
me
would. I wish Marvel would get a little bit more experimental, like with this, and didn't run into the flaws that this one did.
also, you know, as much as I dislike the way the show ended, it did give me the greatest bop in Agatha. No, it was Agatha all along.
Yeah.
You
Um,
bought that song and/or downloaded it, didn't you?
Yeah, of course I did.
My closing comment on WandaVision is I greatly appreciate the MCU, but it's stories like WandaVision that make me realize that perhaps standalones like Legion are viable as well.
I mean,
I
there are
watched all
some
3 seasons
standalone
of
stuff.
Legion. No. I mean, like, I watched all 3 seasons of Legion.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a surprisingly good show that stood on its own, but I think it was a very similar genre of show. It was like, imagine the horror and mind fudgery elements of WandaVision taken up to 11. That's what Legion was as a show. As something I can appreciate a great deal.
Hmm. Yes, and like this neat like I think also WandaVision came out in a moment where I, as a viewer, was getting very tired of Marvel,
Mm.
Mm.
and like this show almost turned me off of Marvel entirely, partially because of like its promise,
Mm.
right? Like the promise of WandaVision and the fact that it wasn't met is
It does hurt more, doesn't it?
yes,
Mm.
like especially like again going between this and Captain Falcon, um, you have like these two shows very much were trying to do something interesting, or at least trying to tell an interesting story,
Mm.
but didn't.
cases of missed potential, basically, right?
And like that is WandaVision. Like that is the MCU to a T.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Is
cost of lowest common denominator, right?
yeah, 100%.
Well,
But
I think that's as good a note as any to end on. Unless you had
Yep.
anything more to add to that again.
nope.
Okay, so that is everything. So thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Saturday will be. Fuzzy, you still up for something on Saturday?
Probably, yeah.
So that'll be the two of us. Sunday we'll be continuing D&D, finally bringing an end to the prison arc.
Thank God.
It's been so
Goodness.
long.
So many breaks kind of
Yeah,
hampered our progress on that.
combination of the arc going longer than Kaido planned for it to go, and just how many breaks we had to go, or had to have.
One moment, please.
Yeah, really did.
I'm trying to mute. I cannot find the mute button.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, really did drag things out. But we are at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday and next Thursday more gaming stuff, and obviously next Saturday is the winter 3+ episode check-in.
Have
What?
fun.
Also, again, not sure how interested you are in this. The week after that, we're doing the roast of Naruto.
Maybe not right now.
Just thought I'd mention it. So yeah, again, thank you everybody for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and Twitter at storytime_net. And otherwise, we hope to see you on Saturday for whatever it is we end up doing. Good night.
Good night.
Later.